record. Welcome, everyone. This is Brother Doug with the Awakened by Yahuah Assembly, and I'm with my sister Shoshana, her son Sean, who has recently joined us. Our brother Bobby, and our sister Kristen. My bad about that. My brother Dennis down here, my sister Sally, and we are going to be doing a study about the defilement of the temple. Now, this part one study is going to be mainly focusing on the physical defilement of the temple. So anyone that knows about Scripture and knows the Word of Yahuah knows that there's physical and spiritual aspects to a lot of things, and even this, there's a spiritual aspect, but we won't be touching on that yet. We'll be doing that in a later date. Okay, so we are going to be first going to the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verse 4. I'm going to give my brothers and sisters some time to get there. I'm going to be putting my share screen on so you viewers and listeners can actually see what we're reading. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping two different translations because I have many on this eSword app. I would recommend, if you are a new believer, get this eSword app, especially if you have a Windows computer. There's so many different translations you can get. The Aramaic New Testament, the Brennan Septuagint. I mean, it's an amazing app. So here we go. I'm going to be first starting at Genesis 9, verse 4. And here we go. From the Septuagint, it reads, let's see here. And it reads, but the flesh, with the blood of the life, you shall not eat. Do not eat the life that is in the life that's in the meat. Basically, do not eat the blood, because the blood is the life of the animal, of the organism. So that is a direct commandment from Yahuah. You are not to eat flesh that has blood in it. So we're going to go quickly. We're going to jump into, now we're going to go to Leviticus. And we are going to be going to Leviticus 11, which gives the dietary instructions of our Creator, Yahuah. So,
Doug, you might want to mention that the only way you cannot eat flesh that has blood in it is to put salt in it that will purify it, because they don't drain the blood the way they're supposed to in the meat markets.
Okay, I did not know that. So thank you for informing me of that. So if I'm getting this straight, you're supposed to put salt in it?
Yeah, there's a kosher salt. That's what it's called. And you salt your meat so that it draws out the blood. And if you do it and wash it out with water, it's clean enough.
Okay. All right. So according to information my sister Shushan just gave me, they're not able to get all the blood out of the meat, so you're to put kosher salt in the meat to get the rest of the blood out of it. So that's the only way. Okay. That's something new I just found out. All right. So now we just read Genesis 9:4, which clearly says that you are not to eat the meat with the blood in it. Okay, so now we are going to go to Leviticus chapter 11. And Yahuah spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, speak ye to the sons of Yashrael, saying, these are the beasts which you shall eat of all the beasts that are upon the earth. Every beast parting the hoof and making the division of two claws and chewing the cud among beasts you shall eat. So these are the characteristics. The beast has to be parting the hoof, has to be making division of the two claws, and has to be chewing grass. Okay, so these are the three characteristics, and they have to have all three. Verse 4, but of these you shall not eat, of those that chew the cud and those that part the hoofs and divide claws, the camel, because it chews the cud but does not divide the hoof. This is unclean to you. And the rabbit, because it chews the cud but does not divide the hoof. this is unclean to you. And the hare, which is basically very similar to the rabbit, because it does not chew the cud and does not divide the hoof, this is unclean to you. And the swine, because this animal divides the hoof and makes claws in the hoof, it does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, and you shall not eat of their flesh, and you shall not touch their carcasses. These are unclean to you. And these are what you shall eat of all that are in the waters, all things that have fins and scales in the waters, and in the seas, and the brooks. These you shall eat. And all things which have fins or scales in the water, or in the seas, and in the brooks, of all which the waters produce, and every soul living in the water are an abomination. And they shall be abominations to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, and you shall abhor their carcasses. Basically, you shall hate their dead bodies. And all things that have not fins or scales of those that are in the waters, these are an abomination to you. And these are the things which you shall abhor of birds, and they shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the ossifrage and the sea eagle and the vulture and the kite and the like to it, and the sparrow and the owl and the sea mew and the like to it, and every raven and the birds like it, and the hawk and his like, and the night raven and the cormorant and the stork and the red bill and the pelican and the swan and the heron and the lapwing and the like to it, and the hoopoe and the bat, and all winged creatures that creep, which go upon 4 feet, are an abomination to you. But these you shall eat of the creeping winged animals which go upon 4 feet, which have legs above their feet, to leap with on the earth. And these of them you shall eat, the caterpillar and his like, and the atticus and his like, and the cantharus and his like, and the locust and his like. Every creeping thing from among the birds which has 4 feet is an abomination to you. By these you shall be defiled. Everyone that touches their carcasses shall be unclean till evening. And everyone that takes of their dead body shall wash his garment, and shall be unclean till evening. And whichsoever among the beasts divides the hoof and makes the claws, and does not chew the cud, shall be unclean to you. Everyone that touches their dead body shall be unclean till evening. Everyone among the wild beasts that moves upon its 4 feet, which goes on all fours, is unclean to you. Everyone that touches their dead body shall be unclean till evening. And he that takes of their dead body shall wash his garments, and shall be unclean till evening. These are unclean to you. And these are unclean to you of reptiles upon the earth, the weasel, the mouse, and the lizard, the ferret, the chameleon, and the evet, and the newt, and the mole. These are unclean to you of all the reptiles which are on the earth. Everyone who touches their carcasses shall be unclean till evening. And whatever of their dead bodies shall fall, it shall be unclean. Whatever wooden vessel or garment or skin or sack it may be, every vessel in it which work should be done shall be dipped in water, and shall be unclean till evening, and then it shall be clean. And every earthen vessel into which of these things shall fall, whatsoever is inside it shall be unclean, and it shall be broken. And all food that is eaten on which water shall come from such a vessel shall be unclean, and every beverage which is drunk in any such vessel shall be unclean. And everything on which there shall fall of their dead bodies shall be unclean. Ovens and stands for jars shall be broken down. These are unclean, and they shall be unclean to you. Only if the water be of the fountains of water, or a pool, or a confluence of water, it shall be clean. But he that touches their carcasses shall be unclean. And if one of their carcasses should fall upon any sowing seed which shall be sown, it shall be clean. But if the water be poured on any seed and one of their dead bodies fall upon it, it is unclean to you. And if one of the cattle die, which is lawful for you to eat, he that touches their carcasses shall be unclean till evening. Basically, because it dies of itself, not to eat anything that dies of itself. And he that eats of their carcasses shall wash his garments and be unclean till evening. He that carries any of their carcasses shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And every reptile that creeps on the earth, this shall be an abomination to you, it shall not be eaten. And every animal that creeps on its belly, and everyone that goes on 4 feet continually, which abounds with feet among all the reptiles creeping on the earth, you shall not eat, for it is abomination to you. You shall not defile your souls with any of the reptiles that creep upon the earth, and you shall not be polluted with them. And ye shall not be unclean by them. For I am Yahuah your Elohim, and you shall be set apart. You shall be set apart because I, Yahuah your Elohim, am set apart. You shall not defile your lives with any of the reptiles creeping upon the earth. So that is the end of the portion of Leviticus 11. Let me unmute everyone. So basically, this is just giving one by one what we are to eat, what we are not to eat, what happens when we touch something that's unclean, that the vessel that even touches is unclean, the garments that touches it, and all of that. So it's very interesting, all the reptiles you can't eat. So there's something about reptiles that, I don't know, creeps me out anyway. So.
And there are people who will eat frog legs, which is disgusting to me.
Yeah, that's like a southern thing. That's like a country Yeah.
First time I ever heard that, I thought, ooh, that's gross. Sometimes when you read about the beasts that have split hooves and chew the cud, it's difficult for the lay person to understand what you're talking about or what Scripture is talking about. But it's talking about cattle because they have a split hoof and they chew their cud. Chewing their cud simply means that they eat the grass and then it comes back up and they chew it again. The cattle have 4 stomachs. That's why they do that. But that's also what purifies them and makes their meat clean to us. And for instance, the pig, which has a split hoof, it's divided completely like the cattle, but it does not chew the cud, and they do not have the 4 stomachs that the cattle have. So that kind of clarifies that a little bit for you. And then the sea creatures, just remember, if it doesn't have fins and scales, don't eat it. You don't eat anything like crabs or lobsters. Those are definitely unclean. And I think those are about the only things. Crabs, lobsters, clams, mussels, all those things are unclean because they don't have fins.
They're shellfish.
Yeah.
They have a shell, exoskeleton, shellfish.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get gout and all kinds of arthritis problems from it. These are bottom dwellers. They eat garbage. That's their job. You don't want to eat a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat a vacuum cleaner?
Or what's inside the vacuum cleaner. Yeah, that's a good point.
If you read the world of like all the vacuum cleaners, like there's an experiment someone has done. You take crawfish out of the sea, you take shellfish out of the sea, the water doesn't get cleaned. So all the people that are eating lobsters and stuff like that, you're actually messing up the ecosystem. So, that's part of the reason we're not supposed to eat that stuff. And quite frankly, you're eating something that eats everything, including feces. Okay, they're
Yeah,
cleaners.
that's what it does. It cleans up the seabed.
And pigs are probably the worst of them all.
And when the fish swim by, and what's the worst of them all?
Pigs are probably the worst vacuum cleaner you could possibly eat. They eat their own young. Okay, they're they'll eat anything. They
Yeah, they're toilets.
I mean, this sounds gross, but if somebody or something poops, they will eat it.
Yeah, they're toilets.
They'll eat even dog poop, cat poop, which is nasty.
I don't see how people can eat them anyway. They just look just little creepy crawling things.
Pigs?
Oh no, I was talking about like shrimp, lobster, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. The pigs are what I was talking about, would eat the poop of any animal. Anything.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got a little bit left, little bit of time left. We're gonna have to come back in to finish this study. So we're gonna have to do a second video to go through the rest of our study. So stay tuned, everyone. We're gonna be coming back. So we're gonna do a part 2 here, physically defiling the temple of Yahuah. So we are gonna be right back. Shalom.